Joined with Alan Carson, who's the president of Carson Dunlop, and he'll share his insights on home inspection and maintaining your home. Welcome, Alan.
Well, thank you, Brian. It's good to be here.
What are the three most common items that home inspectors identify from their inspections day in and day out?
Well, we find a lot of stuff in houses, but let me give you maybe the three big ones. And I'm going to start with basement leakage, and then I'm going to go to the top of the house and say bad roofing, and then I'm going to come back inside and say old furnaces and air conditioners. So as I say, there's a ton of other stuff, but those are three pretty major ones that we see regularly.
So it's really about keeping your house warm, safe, and dry?
There you go. You got it. Exactly.
I've heard you talk at a number of seminars, and you seem to really focus in on water as the enemy of a home. Can you further explain?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. After 42 years in home inspection, I am pretty convinced that that's an absolute truth. And why is that? Well, water's an issue because of the damage that it can do to the structure, the finishes, and even the contents of your home. The other big thing with water is mold goes along with water, and that's a pretty nasty thing. So where does the water come from? Well, it can come from a roof leak. It can come from leaks around doors, walls, and windows. It can come through basement leakage. And you can also have water from plumbing and heating system leaks. So what's funny about water is when you have a sudden dramatic leak, when you've got a flood, everybody notices that. You rush to fix it, correct the damage, and you move on. Where the problem comes with houses is those slow basement leaks, those minor roof leaks that bring a lot of water in, but slowly and over a long period of time. And that's where you get the concealed rot, you get the mold, you get some really nasty stuff happening that doesn't jump out at the homeowner right away. So it's that concealed damage that can be the real problem with water.
What are some tips that a typical homeowner can easily do to prevent water damage to their home?
Well, you know, and that's such a great question that I don't think anyone has ever asked me before. And it is so key to maintaining your home. And it is so darn simple. So here's some strategies that will make you laugh because they're so easy. You know those gutters around the edge of your roof? They are super important to keep water out of the basement. Well, people think, why up on the roof? Why does that matter about water in the basement? Well, think of the amount of water that lands on your roof in a heavy rain. And if it dumps off the roof and accumulates outside your house around the foundation, it's going to find its way in. People don't understand your basement and your foundation. They're not a boat. If you put them in water, they will leak. So that's going to kill you. So gutters, downspouts, it's simple, but it's so key. Those downspouts down at the bottom, they can't dump all the water right by the foundation. They've got to extend out about 6 feet from the house. The other thing that I'll mention when we're talking about down around outside the house, that ground right against the building, it should really slope down away from the house, not funnel the water back in toward it. And if you can handle those two things, manage your gutters and downspouts and have the water gently flow away from the house rather than toward it, you've gone a long way. A couple of other little things you can do. Your basement should have a floor drain. Don't cover it up. In an emergency, the water needs to find it. Speaking of drains, out on your street, there's going to be a storm drain in front of your house or in front of the house next door. In the spring and fall, get out there and clean it. It takes you less than a minute just to get the leaves, twigs, and debris away from it. Because when you get a heavy rain, you got to get that water off the street as well. Otherwise, it'll find its way back into your property. If you've got a sump pump, test it regularly. Have a backup sump. Have a backup battery in case the power goes out. Because when we have our big floods, what happens? The power goes out. When the power goes out, your sump pump doesn't work. When your sump pump doesn't work, your basement floods. So you got to deal with that. An alarm on your sump pump is a great thing so that you know when it's backing up, because nobody's spending their life down in the basement watching the sump pump. Last thing I'll mention is backwater valves, which have become a really big thing, especially since the flooding that we've had in the GTA over the last few years. When those municipal sewers back up, your basement gets filled with municipal sewage. That's not a good thing. a backwater valve will prevent that. And the good news is that a lot of municipalities have programs now to help with the cost of a backwater valve. It's probably $2,500 to $3,000. Your insurance company will love it if you put it in. You're protecting yourself, and you get some financial help from the municipality. So those are some of the things you can do to help protect yourself against flooding.
Great points, Alan. There's this thing called an attic, and I know personally as a consumer, I never go in my attic, and I assume other consumers are the same. Do I need to inspect my attic annually?
Well, I'm going to give you a kind of yes and no answer to that one. First of all, you probably don't need to go up into your attic. I really don't think most homeowners should do it. It can be a little dangerous. However, what I would love you to do once a year is just pop the access hatch off and stick your head up there. You don't need to crawl through, but I'd love you to just look around, have a strong flashlight, and look for a few obvious things. Structural damage to the joists or trusses. Those pieces of wood can get broken or damaged with heavy snow loads. Look for evidence of water damage up there. Is there roof leakage there? Is the insulation all matted down and soggy? Look for evidence of pests such as squirrels in the attic. Those are usually pretty easy to find. Look for mold on the underside of the roof sheathing telling you you've got a ventilation problem. And lastly, if you've got ducts and vents coming from exhaust fans and clothes dryers going up into the attic, make sure those guys go all the way through the attic and up venting out through the roof through a designed vent. You don't want to see open pipes discharging warm, moist air into the attic. That's going to lead to mold and some nasty problems. So in about a minute and a half, just poking your head up there, you can check 5 or 6 items real quick and you're good to go.
Any funny stories being up in an attic, Alan?
Well, I keep telling people that we're going to find a treasure chest up there one day, but instead we mostly find stuff like bat guano and really disgusting things. So haven't found the treasure yet, but we keep looking.
Oh boy. Where can an everyday consumer learn more about how to protect their home and properly maintain their home?
That's a great question. There's lots of good stuff out there, and frankly, any good home inspection report should include a practical maintenance guide for you. When we do our reports for our clients, we actually include an electronic version of our 500-page home reference book, and it's got all kinds of terrific advice for homeowners. And more specifically, it's got a short section on what to do when you first move into your house and then your ongoing seasonal maintenance program. So it is a really good guideline for the simple, straightforward stuff you can do. The jobs typically take about a minute, and you just need to do them from time to time to make sure that house stays in good shape and you protect your investment.
Where can I buy the home reference book, Alan?
What's that, Brian?
Where can I buy the home reference book?
Our website's a great place to start, carsondunlop.com. And yeah, you can buy a paper-based version of the book if you're old school like me. If you're the digital generation, it's available as an ebook as well.
Sounds like some good bedtime reading.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Alan, for your time.
Brian, thanks. Great to be with you.